If your why is not strong enough, you're going to quit. Now, your why can change tomorrow. Your why can change next week. You need to sit down and reevaluate your why every single week. Is it still strong enough to push me to do the things that are going to make me the person that I want to be? Now, your why doesn't have to just be this business. It can be to be a better father, a better husband, a better Christian. Whatever it is for you, your why and my why are two different whys. My why came when my daughter was born. I didn't have a why. My why was money. My why was never lose my car again. When I delivered that baby, I was like, oh, crap. My life doesn't matter anymore. My job is to protect these girls. I tell my daughter every day, I ask her the question, what is my number one job? And she says, to protect me. Until I die. And I plan on living until I'm 120. This patch, Kyle called me, I was like, okay, if I live to 120, my youngest will be 80. That's cool. I can spend 80 years with my kids. I can sit across from an 80-year-old daughter and have a conversation, and by God, I'm going to do it. Because this patch is going to make it happen with all the other things that I'm doing in my life. The second thing is, you guys have to define your success snowflake. The reason a success snowflake, every single snowflake, I don't live anywhere near snowflakes, nor do I ever want to be around ever snowflake ever again in my life. But what I do know about snowflakes is they're all different. Just like your hand and my hand, your fingerprint, my fingerprint is all different. And you have to have your own success snowflake. Now, this gentleman said 10, this gentleman back here said $150,000 a month. I don't judge him. I don't judge anybody that has a different snowflake than me. You have to have a snowflake that speaks to you, not to me. Because if you have a snowflake and you're trying to be me, guess what? It's never going to happen. Your snowflake has to be for you. Don't try to live and don't try to be me. Kyle, I believe, is one of the best speakers on stage. He says the same thing about me. He sent me a text. I'm like, man, you're really, really good. Kyle doesn't try to be me. He wears cowboy boots. I would never wear cowboy boots. But I love Kyle. I love everything about Kyle. Kyle drives me. He motivates me. When he called me and said, I have something, I was on vacation. He called the story. I was like, bro, I don't talk on the phone on my vacation. He was like, yeah, but you can't miss this opportunity. I was like, but my wife's going to be mad at me. He's like, I don't care. Just sign up. I'm like, bro, I'll sign up on Tuesday. He's like, you don't want to wait till Tuesday. I'm enrolling a lot of people. Trust me with this comp plan. And I was like, if I sign up, will I be able to hang up? And he was like, yes. And then I signed up for Core, which was silver back then. I get home, I get this patch out. I'm having an effect. It's changing my life. I'm on the golf course. I slept 3 hours the night before. In the middle of the golf course, I get this surge of energy. And I call Kyle in the middle of the golf course. I'm like, bro, you signed me up for silver. Why didn't you sign me up for diamond? I'm not going to get paid right. He's like, you're okay. He's like, give me your credit card, I'll upgrade you. True story. I didn't know what the price was. And then I got home when I saw the charge on my credit card, I was like, holy crap. Wait. And then I went to an event and I had a young lady crying and said that I changed her life. And I was like, what the heck did I do to change her life? And she was like, the fact that Ralph joined this business and I saw them on social media promote this patch, it changed my kids' lives. And I was like, tell me more. She's like, I have twins. One has autism. And after 2 weeks of wearing the patch, he's a different little boy. I don't recognize him. And I was like, that's amazing. And her husband said, that's not the amazing part. Our other twin has never eaten food. And his wife pulled up a picture on her phone and she said, this is him on his feeding tube. 3 years old, never eaten a morsel of food in his life. And I was like, oh my God. And the only thing I can think about is I'm so grateful that I have healthy girls. And I was like, that's terrible. And he's like, that's not the most terrible part. He vomits 5 to 6 times a day in the car, in restaurants, in our house. And if you know anything about me, I'm not going to go into detail, but I have a phobia when it comes to vomit. When I met my wife, and she said she wanted to have kids, the only thing I thought about was vomiting kids. And I just said, listen, I can only do poop, pee, blood, and everything else. When they vomit, you have to handle that. And when he told me that, I almost vomited. I was just like someone vomiting in my car. And he was like, but you know what? She scrolled her phone and she said, he's sitting in his high chair eating. And he was eating Brussels sprouts. And I was like, what the hell? You gave him Brussels sprouts? And she was like, he'll eat anything. He just likes to eat. And in that moment, I knew it was my social responsibility to share this with every single person. And the fact that Ralph trusted me and Carlos trusted me enough to say yes to this opportunity, we changed one person's life forever. And if I just did that, that's enough for me to keep going. And so you have to determine what your success snowflake is. What exactly does it look like? What exactly do you want your bank account? What exactly do you want your kids' lives to look like? What does success look like for you? So the other thing is you gotta have core values. I hired a mentor back in 2003. I wanted to start acquiring agencies and growing by acquisition because I was reading books about acquisition. And so I wanted to find the best person when it came to acquisitions. And so I called this guy that everyone was leading me to. And I said, I want to hire you. And he said, you can't afford me. And I said, what's your number? And he was like, it's $250,000 for the year. And I was like, where do I write the check? I didn't have $250,000. I had a house with equity. And he said, I have one stipulation. Whatever I tell you to do, as long as it's legal, you do it or you're fired as a customer. And I said, I have one stipulation for you. Whenever I call you, you better pick up your phone. And so he taught me this. This was the first thing he taught me. He said, you must have core values. You have to have a filter that you run every decision you have through, and it has to match your core values. You have to have at least 4. If it doesn't fit those core values, then you don't do it. And I said, okay. And so he gave me this big list, and I'm going to give you guys this list today. He gave me this big list, and he said, I want you to go through this list quickly, and the 4 that pop out to you, those are your core values. And he said, also, these core values will become your brand. Do you guys have a brand? What's your brand? What are you known for? What's important to you? So I'll tell you mine. You guys want to know mine? You guys interested to know mine? Yes. Mine's feet. I did an acronym out of mine. Because feet take you everywhere. If you don't have feet, it's tough to get around. I know because I pulled my gastrocnemius when I played pickleball, and I had to be on a cart. I didn't have 2 feet, and it sucked. So the first thing is whatever I do has to be fun. The reason I paired up with Joey and Kyle is because they're fun. I know everything they do is going to be fun. I know they're not going to do anything that's not fun because it didn't get fun at the last company. And guess what they did? They ejected. Guess what I did? Ejected. So everything you do has to be fun. If it's not fun, you're not going to stay doing it. I do everything with excellence. This is the first E. Everything I do, everything I touch has excellence. My kids, the same thing. We don't have to step anything. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That's down to the way I dress, the way I get ready, the way I keep my house, the way I keep my car, the way I do business, the way I do presentations. It's all about excellence. You can ask Justin. We just developed a document that took us 2 months, and I'm sure every time he hung up the Zoom call with me, he was just like, this MF. Second one is I'm always going to evolve. My father never evolved. He doesn't have a cell phone, but he doesn't have a smartphone. He still has a flip phone. He doesn't have a computer. He doesn't know what the internet is. He got stuck back in 1980. And that's his belief system. But when I'm 120, I will know what's going on in the world and I will do everything to be evolved. But this company is an evolution of our life. You have to evolve every single day. If you're not evolving, you're dying. And I'm not dying anytime soon. Because if I'm going to really impact the world and pour into people, I have to evolve and know what's going on in this world at all times. And I got to be on the cutting edge. That's the second E. T is you got to trust the process of failure, my friends. Just like Kendall said. Failure is learning. I have failed so many times. I have failed probably 100 million times more than I've ever succeeded in my life. And so when you want to learn from people, this is what I would tell you. This is the biggest question you want to ask people. You want to learn everything not to do. You'll learn what to do. But if you learn what not to do, you're going to save a lot of money, you're going to save a lot of time, and you're going to save a lot of headache. So learn what not to do. Ask people what not to do. I'm going to tell you this. Successful people, they want to tell you what not to do. Trust me. When you ask them that question, like, do you have a notebook? Because I'll write everything down for you. Successful people like to share that. So core values, have a filter, run everything through those core values. Accountability partners. There's 245 people in this room. Most houses have over 20 people. My house, I think I got the best people here. That's just, my personal opinion, because I love everyone in my house. And you're one of them, brother. Like, he was up this morning early like me. We were down in the kitchen having breakfast. And I'm sure every single person in this room is amazing, but my interaction with my house is amazing. Carlos didn't realize I was going to be his accountability partner. He was telling a story at the table last night. He probably's never met anybody like me. But I'm a man of my word, because that's the only thing I have. And when I have friends that I love, and they tell me they're going to do something, I'm going to hold you accountable. And I'm going to ask you why you failed. And what are you going to do about it? I'm not going to ask why, I'm going to ask what you're going to do about it. How are you going to change that? This man was a fireman. He had a couple Airbnbs, not a big businessman. But when I met him, I was like, this dude has something different. And he was telling me all these things he wanted to do. And I was like, well, what are you waiting for? He said, that doesn't make any sense to me. You have all these skill sets, why are you doing that? And then he fell short. And he tried to give me excuses. And I was like, Rob, you said you were going to do this. But guess what? What did he do? He did it. And so, find the people in here. I'll be your accountability partner. You might not like me. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to tell you how to get to the next level. So, enroll accountability partners in this room. A decision. You see those feet on the ground? It's every day, guys. It's not once a month, once a year. You got to make a decision every single day your feet hit the ground that you're going to transform your life and take it to the next level. Every single day. So, last night we're checking in Rochelle and Carlos' house. And we're making fun of this little nook in their house. And Rochelle was like, what do you think that's for? Because it's like this little room. I was like, probably a reading room. And she was like, I'm going to do my devotions up there. Or Carlos said, I'm going to do my devotions up there. And Rochelle said, I don't think we're going to have time. Because the morning's going to be crazy if you want a house. You know what Carlos said? What did you say? You don't remember? Memory's pretty short. Carlos said, we'll make time. We're doing that. Because that's what we do every day. Because they made a decision. And Carlos is Rochelle's accountability partner, and Rochelle is Carlos' accountability partner. Two of the best accountability partners I've ever seen in my entire life. They will hold each other's feet to the fire quickly. But I saw that, and I was like, wow. I was surprised that Carlos was the one that was doing that. And then I was like, wow, that's good, Carlos. He said we're doing that tomorrow. We're going to make time for it if we've got to get up early. So make a decision every day. This right here has changed my life, you guys. If you do anything in the next 90 days, it's the morning and the night routine, okay? Most important thing, my mentor taught me this early on. This was the thing he said that I had to implement. And I was like, man, I'm not waking up early in the morning to do all this. Now, I remember when I was dating girls that I were really into before my wife, and they would tell me that they need me time. And I was like, I am your me time. You understand? Like, me is your time. No, me time, I need by myself. I know. I mean, me time, you don't understand. My definition of me time is me with you. But me time is really important, you guys. And I do this first thing in the morning because if you don't do it first thing in the morning, what I can assure you is you're not going to do it. I can promise you it will not ever happen. Anything on this list, if you say, I'm going to do it in the afternoon, nope, you're not. I promise you, you will not. So every single morning I wake up, I meditate. Now, some of you guys pray. Meditation, prayer is the same thing. I just learned transcendental meditation, and it helps me get out of the bed in the morning because I look forward to it. Before, I didn't look forward to getting up. I was like, oh, God, I'm tired. I look forward to going into my meditation time every single day. I read 90 pages of a book. Now, I know that sounds like a lot. I'm going to give you a hack. Start with 10. I talked to Kyle's son Ryder the other day. I said, just read 10 pages every day. If you read 10 pages of a book every single day, you'll read a book a month. He's 14 years old. I said, imagine the next 4 years, how many books will you read if you just do one book a month for the next 4 years? He's like, 50. How many people do you think have ever read 50 books in their entire lifetime? Not many. And all I gotta do is read 10 pages a day. But what will happen is you'll want to read more. Now this is the hack. I download books to Kindle, and I have Audible, and I listen to it at 2 times. Now it takes a minute to get used to it, so you can start at 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, 2.0. Once you get to 2.0, if you listen to it at 1.0, you'll claw your eyes out. But just start reading every single day. I write for 45 minutes. I'm an author, and I'm always writing books, but writing is healthy. Just write your thoughts down, journal. Every single person in this room can write a book. People need to hear from you. It might not be your aspiration right now, but just write. I promise you, it's the most therapeutic thing ever. Morning light, morning walk. Around 8 a.m., I go for a walk. Just me, myself, and I get sunlight in my eyes. And then every single morning, I ground for 10 minutes in my backyard. I thought this was the hokiest thing when my mentor told me. I was like, my feet are going to get dirty, dude. When I walk, I'm like, I don't like dirty feet. And he was like, you can wash your feet. I'm telling you, it'll make you feel amazing. I work out for an hour. And then I also sauna 15 minutes, 5 days a week. I used to think I was going to die on sauna. Like, I thought I was going to literally just pass out and I wasn't able to breathe. But this right here has changed my life. Night routine. I plan for the next day, every day at 6:45. Justin's going to send all this stuff out to you guys, so you guys will have all this, okay? I put my phone on Do Not Disturb at 7 p.m. My family time is the most critical thing in my life. Between the hours of 7 p.m. and 8 a.m., if an emergency happens, you need to call 911 because I'm not an ambulance, a police officer, or a firefighter. I cannot do anything for you because I'm with my family. That's the real emergency if anything happens. If anything else happens, I can't help you. I wear blue light glasses. I used to think this was a crazy thing when I see people wearing these glasses. But sleep is absolutely everything in your life. The 2 most important things you can do is sleep 7 to 8 hours a night and wear your patch every day. That's going to change your life. Sleep is free. It doesn't cost any money. I hear people all the time saying, you will sleep when you die. You're going to die a lot sooner, and you're going to feel like crap while you're awake. I like to be amazing when I wake up. I like to feel amazing when I wake up. The other thing I do is 2 hours when my baby's no phone. My daughter will not let me be on my phone. If I'm on my phone, she will call me out because she is my accountability partner, and I have assigned her as my accountability partner. I am not allowed to be on my phone. Matter of fact, I'm not allowed to be on my phone when I'm in my car. The first question she asks me every single time we get in the car, Poppy, are you going to make phone calls? No, ma'am. I was just checking. Every single time. Because I told her, when I'm in the car with you, it's you and me. It's conversations. It's not a conversation with anybody else. I can wait for the conversation until we get out of the car and do something else. 2 hours with my wife every single night. We put our girls to sleep at 8:30. 8:30 to 10:30 is me and my wife time. Nothing interferes with that. You have to spend time with your wife. You have to pour into your wife. We listen to relationship books before we go to sleep, 15 to 20 minutes. If you're single, the best advice I can give you to is listen to relationship books before you go to bed. I promise it's going to help you when you get in a relationship. It might not help the other person, but then you can say, hey, maybe we should listen to some relationship books before we go to sleep. It's the best thing. It's changed my relationship in the last year and a half more than anything else. And then the other thing is I get 7 to 8 hours a night of sleep. That right there, if you guys can implement a daily and a nightly routine, you will see a transformation in yourself like nothing else. So you got to get comfortable getting uncomfortable. Now, my wife was supposed to be here. She had an issue with her neck, and I won't go into the story, but some of you probably don't know who are. I know a lot of you know who my wife is. She is probably one of the most successful network marketers in the business, and she made a decision to come to life with me. Which, listen, you don't know how big that is for us in this room, because the credibility that she brings, the power that she brings to this, her and Rochelle now and Monica together, like this is going to be put on the map. And also Juan Carlos, I mean, we have some people in the room that are going to bring LifeWave, where when you're having a conversation, people are going to be like, yeah, I've heard something about that. And understand the way this works, right? Everything that I do helps you. That's the cool thing about this. Everything that Rochelle does and Ralph does, we all help each other. This is all one big team. So you got to get really, really comfortable getting uncomfortable. And I know that's such an apropos, like you got to be, I'm telling you, if you are comfortable, you're not growing. I can assure you, you are not growing. When I get comfortable, because I'm going to tell you right now, when Kyle called me, I was like, you want to start another company? I got to learn all this stuff. Then I talked to Sarah, and Sarah did our first opportunity call, and I'm like, holy crap, that's a lot of stuff she's talking about. My God, I'm never going to be able to talk about all that stuff. She knows so much about this company. Then I call her for like the first 3 weeks, and she's a freaking human encyclopedia of LifeWave. There's no way that I'm going to know all this stuff. And I had to get uncomfortable. Like Monica said, you got to go deep. I can't call Sarah every day. I got to learn stuff. You got to go deep in this business. Now, not everyone needs to know that. Mike, I remember I went to my first thing with him, and Mike said, asked people in the room, he's like, who in the room has a bachelor's degree? Who in the room has a master's degree, a PhD, an MD? And all these people raise their hand, he's like, y'all are going to fail. Man, he's like, because you're going to overthink it. This is a simple business. But to understand the business so that you can't help your team when they ask those questions, because I'm sure I've asked Sarah questions, she's just like, why does that matter? Just sell X39. You don't need to know all that other stuff. So get uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Lose the victim mentality. Everything that happened to you, it happened for you. Every single thing. I lived in my car for a reason. I worked at Waffle House for a reason. It was the suckiest job on the planet Earth. I had 40 restaurants with a bunch of crackheads and heroin addicts and people that didn't want to come to work. It sucked. But man, I appreciate my life now. I look back on that experience and I love it. It happened to me because it was happening for me. It was happening to make me a better person. So if you're like, oh, I don't have enough followers. I'm not a salesperson. No, I'm shy. How many people out here are shy? That's your ego. You understand, when you say I'm shy, that's your ego speaking. Because what'd you say, Stephen? You're shy because you're embarrassed. I don't know how to talk about it. Well, you're never going to learn how to talk about it unless you talk about it. That's how you get better. So talk about it. Lose the victim mentality. Every single person in this room can be an SPD. There is absolutely nothing special about me. Not one single thing. I promise you. I'm just like you. I came from a very poor family. I'm here because I made it happen. You can all make it happen. I have a bunch of the Latin community in my house. A lot of people think, oh, I can't speak English, I can't be successful, or, I'm not good at this, or, people aren't going to listen to me, or I have an accent. You guys have the biggest opportunity in the world. That narrative that someone's been telling you your whole life is a false narrative. It's not true. Everything that you tell yourself every single day is a lie. You're lying to yourself every single moment of every single day. Stop lying to yourself. Do you guys like liars? Why do you lie to yourself every day? Why? Don't set unrealistic expectations. Let me give you guys a tip. I'm about to finish in 10 minutes. This is something my mentor taught me. You can have expectations from two people in your life. Anybody willing to guess what they are? Who they are? God, wrong. God doesn't owe you anything. Yourselves, good. Who else? You know the answer, you can't speak. You've been with me for too long. But I'm glad you know. Who else? Yourself and who else? No, absolutely not. That's the problem with the world. Nope. Good try. Keep guessing, you guys. Give me a couple more guesses. You guys all have expectations of every single person in your life. You know that, right? Because you will get pissed at somebody when they don't read your mind and do something exactly when you want them to do it. Like your husband or your kids. You think men are mind readers. We think women are mind readers. Come on. Who else? There's one other person. No. Yourself is good. The other person is people you pay money. If I go to a restaurant and buy a $50 filet mignon, you better serve it the way I like it and with a smile. Because I can buy the filet at Whole Foods for $15 and cook it myself. Right? If you're going to mow my grass, I expect you to cut my grass the way you said you would cut it. You wash my car, clean my house. If you're an employee and I'm paying you money, I can have expectations that you do your job. Does anybody in here pay you? No? You make your own money. Kyle doesn't pay me. But this is the crazy thing about expectations, you guys. Is we will have expectations of people, and they don't even know it. Like you get home, and your wife might be mad at you because you came in the door and you didn't give her a kiss right when you walked in because you got stuff on your mind. And you have no idea why she's mad at you because she has these expectations. Drop the expectations. You want to live a better life? Don't have expectations. Because when you have expectations, you will always be let down every single day. And you're going to live in this world that sucks. So when you have expectations, then you upset other people as well. Now, this is what you can do with expectations. Remember we talked about accountability partners? What I realize about expectations is that I just have to tell people what I like and what I want. Now, if they don't do what I like or what I want, I can't have expectations, right? But what I can do is tell them what I like. So this is the thing. We all have egos in here. And I always thought that I was the biggest man of my word. Because my grandmother said, always be a man of your word. Because that's